Hey, I'm Matt Sargent with Old Medicine Farm, brand new farm in the heart of Corvallis, Montana. Enjoying right in the heart of the Bitterroot Valley, Montana. A little hazy. Our view isn't quite what it should be. That said, it's still spectacular. Thanks for joining us for our first episode. I was going to do kind of an introduction, but I have some work to do, obviously, because this does not look like a farm. Due to our context, we're really not focusing on production until next year. We just moved into the house and, we purchased it in February. I worked on it really hard throughout the winter. Family moved in around April. But right now we're focusing on life in general, and the farm is not a hobby per se, but it's not going to be our primary income stream. My beautiful wife, Hillary Sargent, at 2 Poppies Apothecary on Instagram. She's an herbalist, so our goal is to have a commercial herb farm, a medicinal herb farm, that will have agroforestry elements that will benefit us and possibly our neighbors. Fruit trees, maybe some nut trees. But here we're in the foothills of the Sapphire Mountains, and just looking around, you can see this is sagebrush country. It's not really where you would think of a farm. We will be doing some grazing. It's the best way to manage the grass and protect us from fires. The Bitterroot Valley has a crazy fire season, and it's definitely something to be concerned about. So we will be grazing with goats and sheep, and our famous guardian burro, Mr. Burro, who you will meet in future episodes. But as far as getting the farm ready, one of the first things you need to do is figure out water. We're lucky in that we have a spring, and you can see here we have 2 of what's going to be probably 8 terraces going down to that old horse fence right there. And so with the spring, we're going to use the year-round spring water to irrigate the terraces with swales on the uphill side of the terrace. I have a great neighbor. He came in and cut the first 2 terraces, but I'm having some issues with the water distribution. In other words, I built a pond, I miscalculated something, and I got to fix it. But before I fix that, I got to get all the water out of the uppermost swale, and I don't have a way to do that. So today we are going to cover building a monk in a natural pond. What's that you say? I thought you said natural pond. That pond has a liner. Well, that's not the pond we need to fix, but you can see the water's not draining out of it quite the way I would like. I have a constant supply of water, but I miscalculated a measurement, and it's just kind of sitting there. And luckily I didn't cut any of the liner or anything like that. I knew that there was probably going to be a human error. Human error accounts for almost everything in the permaculture realm. So before I dig that and actually add some more features to this small little pocket pond, I need to be able to drain the swale that feeds it. And in order to drain that swale that feeds it, let's walk along. We'll walk along here. You can see the water's really stagnant too. So in a future episode, we're going to cover something about how to aerate and improve the water quality. But this little pocket pond here is fed by the spring, and this dam is where we need to add a little monk that'll come into this little drainage that I've built and then feed the swale down here that irrigates this lower terrace. All right, so I'm standing here on top of the little dam. I gotta cut it open and release it. Before I do that, I do want to address really quick that I said in a future episode we're going to be talking about aeration. One thing that's going to help greatly is once I have this monk in here, fix that pond, and I have water running out of the pond down into that second terrace, and not necessarily through the monk, but having the monk as a backup, a redundancy, so I can move water where I want. Who knows, I might decide that I don't need this terrace irrigated 100% of the time. In fact, I actually know I probably don't. I'm probably going to want to have the swale fill up for 2 days, maybe 3, divert water to the next terrace, and as we go downhill, we'll have other ponds and monks that will allow water to move downhill. Water already moves downhill, but it'll allow me to control where in which terraces are getting water. So, but once the water is exiting that pond the way that I want it to, the water is going to be moving. It'll be oxygenated just by moving. The pond's going to have some features that'll create thermal disruptions, circulating water, and more airflow. That said, we will also cover some other aeration techniques without electricity, because where we are, we're totally off grid. So if I want to power something, I'm using the sun. We're starting from scratch. We've got almost zero money to invest in this project, so I can't go be building a whole new solar array to aerate a pond, because the solar that I have takes care of my family right now, and they are number one, because without them I don't get to do any of this. I love them to death. I want them all to be happy, so gotta take care of them. So electricity goes to things like refrigeration. Maybe down the line we'll build an icebox, who knows? You'll find out in future episodes. But right now, let's start ripping this dam open and getting a monk installed. The water's running out of that pocket pond and down into the lower swale. We'll let what's there come out, and then I'm gonna kind of dig it out some more, reshape the pocket pond, and then we'll go over monk installation. I bet you wish this was one of those videos where I showed you me digging for like, I don't know, a minute and fast forward, going really fast, dig, 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 brother, yada, yada. I don't know about you. I'm not a big fan of watching other people work. I do plenty myself. I love the end result. This is what we're looking at now. Made it just a little bit deeper, added a little bit more shape, put all the spoils and the original dam right there, and I've made the spillway mostly level. It's going to be level enough. Now we're going to use the PVC with a 90-degree elbow in it. We're not using any glue. It's not necessary. So okay, so right here I'm finding what the water level is on the dam. I've got the level set up at the high point of the dam. The swale on this upper terrace is designed so it never breaches this dam. So if I was to cut it level right there, water's not going to passively be entering this monk and going down to the second terrace. But that's fine, because the water goes down this swale into that pocket pond that I need to rework anyways, and then down into the second swale on the second terrace. So I'm going to be cutting it at that. A lot of people go slightly below their dam level to kick water out to the next water feature. The nice thing about a monk is, since your outlet pipe is vertical, it doesn't get clogged up the way that a traditional culvert or spillway would. My main goal is to be able to say, okay, I want to dry this out a little bit. This upper terrace is getting too much water. Or if I need to do work on that other pocket pond, I just tilt this to the side as far as I want to go. Water exits the monk down into the other terrace. So it's time to get to cutting. Fancy that, I have a cut piece of PVC. The magic of movies, right? Or YouTube, whatever this is. I guess this wouldn't be a movie. So now I'm going to place this in here, backfill the dam, kick the water back in here, and we'll see what happens. All right, so I've got it mostly backfilled. That said, the soil that was in the dam is super waterlogged. And I need to be able to compact this so it'll hold more water when I divert water back in here. So I'm going to come back tomorrow morning. This should dry out. We're in Montana, it's pretty arid. I don't want it fully dry. I want it, moist enough that I can really compact it and get it good. But we'll see you in the morning, and we'll test out this mini monk. Whoa! All right, so I'm back. It isn't the next morning. It's actually like 2 days later in the afternoon. Got kind of busy. The dam hadn't quite set up enough to pack it in, so I let it dry out, packed it in a little bit, and you can see the monk is working. At least in an overflow context, it's keeping the water from breaching the dam. We've got water coming out over here. you might have a little bit of motion sickness for that. Hopefully I don't have to do another take. We'll take one anyways and see how it works. But so having an overflow in any water harvesting situation is crucial. It's necessary. It's what you need to do to be safe and a responsible steward. However, the primary spillway that I've designed into this water catchment feature is at the spillway in the pond at the far end of this swale. Swale runs down there. You can see the lining where I still need to finish the pond once I know everything is going right. And then it would go out the spillway into that swale, spread across the swale, which is on contour, and there will be another pond even further down at that end that'll tie into the future gray water system. If you ever want to, if you've ever been interested in gray water, check back in a couple weeks. We are going to be doing basically a whole house gray water installation into a series of ponds that tie into this terrace and swales as I have time and money to build out more terraces and swales. But back to the issue at hand. This overflow, although it's working, I want it more as a secondary spillway, or if I decide that I need to drain this swale because the terrace is getting waterlogged, anything like that, or things are getting too stagnant, I want to be able to come down here, tilt that, and have it drain. And so that works. It works great. I would like the overflow water to be going out down there instead of here. So this piece of pipe that comes out of the 90, I just cut it a little too short. Luckily, this is a mini monk. You know, it looks like a monk, just smaller. So the materials aren't super expensive. Keep this in mind as you design your water collecting systems, how you're going to be using it, how many spillways you have, what your overflows are. You always want redundancy. But so I need to make this just about a 1/2 inch taller, bring up the dam about another 1/2 inch. One of the tenets of principle is observe and interact. That's what we're doing. So we'll see you in a few moments with a finished project. All right, so getting the mini monk installed has been quite the journey, but that's what this channel is all about. It's a journey. Stick with us, like, subscribe. That way you get all the updates and you'll see what's coming up. We're going to be doing videos about gray water pond installations that tie into this swale and terrace system. We're going to be talking about rotational grazing with sheep, goats, and a burrow. We're going to be talking about using a burrow as a guardian. We'll be talking about all things permaculture, holistic management, food forest, medicinal herbs, etc., etc. And with that said, let's take a look, see how this little mini monk is working. Oh, and she's a beaut. She's working just perfectly. Might need to add a little bit more water or soil to the dam, but the water's running down the swale to that first terrace pond down there, out the spillway, down into the second swale. Things are great. We're also going to be building a more natural pond without a liner into this terrace, and as we progress we'll be moving downhill with more terraces. So we'll see you next time, and until next time, happy growing.